Hi, Christy. Okay, so I already made one video. It's too long. I'm just going to try and cut it down. So I read a book called Mao's Last Dancer. It's an autobiography by Li Kunskin. He's from rural China. He was born in the 70s or the 60s. And basically, he grew up in really rural China. Like, his parents were peasants under communist rule of Chairman Mao. And he didn't live a very good life. Like, literally ate dried yams for dinner and lunch and breakfast. Like, he had 7 brothers, and then his family believed a lot in tradition, a lot in, like, just, like, holding up the family name and doing, like, whatever his parents asked, basically. When he was 11 years old, he was in school, and Chairman Mao's wife, like, decided to start a dance academy. And so they had people come to every rural school and, like, basically audition kids, but the way they auditioned them was by testing their flexibility. So they just bent his body in the most unfortunate ways, like just lifted his leg up as far as they could, ended up tearing both of his hamstrings, and he didn't even cry out. Like, he just had, like, he wanted to do what was best for his family, and he thought that by not crying out and getting this audition that, like, that's how he could serve his family well, which is what he did. He was taken to Madame Mao's dance academy in Beijing, where he was taught for, like, the first 2 years. He really didn't put an effort in. He really didn't like it that much. He wanted to be home the whole time. He was an 11-year-old boy. Like, he was so homesick. And when his parents found out his grades, they basically were like, you need to do better. Like, upped his determination. He would, like, from then on, just become an amazing dancer. Well, obviously, like, it took time, but his determination was always there. Like, he always wanted to be the best. His teachers really saw a lot of potential in him. When he was 17, Ben Stevenson came to his dance academy and watched them perform and practice for a week or two. And then he chose 2 dancers from Madame Mao's dance academy to go to America for a summer and practice dance at the Houston Ballet. And so once he got there, he was told the whole time, like, before he got there, like, how awful America was. Everything he learned in school, everything he learned at the dance academy and any kind of classes was, communism is great, capitalism is awful, and you would hate America if you went there. Like, everyone's so unfortunate, and, like, you have it so much better here. And once he got there, he realized that wasn't true, and he fell in love with America and everything about it. And so once he got back to China, he did everything he could to get back to America. Ben offered him a 1-year scholarship to live and study in Houston with him. And so it took a lot of determination, and, like, he had to get a visa, and that was just, like, a struggle. But he finally did. So he studied for a whole year and fell in love with another dancer at the Houston Dance Academy, who was also a soloist. And 2 days before he was supposed to go back to China, he married her and defected. And he got held in the Chinese consulate in the U.S., along with a bunch of his other friends who wouldn't leave until they gave him back. And basically China was like, if you go back now, no harm done, but, like, you can't stay here. And he said yes, he could, because he married an American woman. And it was this whole thing. Finally, a lot of, like, upper officials got called into it, and he was released after 2 days. But there was a lot of publicity around it because he was an amazing dancer, and he was also a subject of the strife between capitalism and communism, which was really huge in the 70s and the 80s. So he got to stay in America, but he was told he would never be allowed to go back to China. And that broke his heart because he missed all of his family there, and as much as he didn't like the communist rule anymore, like, he missed his family. So his first marriage ended up failing because he was married to another dancer, and it just didn't work. And so they got a divorce. He continued to dance, gain more publicity, do ballet competitions where he would do so well. He danced for the U.S. He wasn't allowed to dance for China. And his family finally got to visit. He actually somehow made friends with, not somehow, but, like, through connections, and because Barbara Bush was a benefactor to the Houston Ballet, he became friends with Vice President Bush, who granted his family to come to his parents to come to America for 3 weeks, and then they ended up coming back for another 6 months. And by then he was dating another principal dancer at the Houston Ballet. He was promoted principal dancer by then, and he ended up marrying her. And then they traveled to China. He was allowed to travel to China now. Like, this is after he hadn't been home in 8 or 9 years. He got to travel back to China, see all of his old friends, where he grew up. All of his brothers had married and had, like, some of them had children. And so he got to see, like, how everything he'd done for his family had given back to them positively. Like, they had more money, they had food now, like, no one was hurting for anything huge, like they had before. So when he went back to America, they ended up having, him and his wife Mary had 3 children. One of them was born deaf, the first one, and they moved from Houston when he was 36 to Australia, where Mary's from, with their whole family. They had all their kids and them, and he ended up dancing in Australia for another 2 years till he was like 38, still a soloist. And he had a really successful career. He was crazy determined, like, through everything. Like, the first 2 years he wasn't, and, like, he wasn't considered anything special. And then his dad gave him this special pen and, like, basically instilled in him, like, you need to do better for the family. And he just, like, everything he did was for his family. What motivated me, or not motivated me, but inspired me about him was, like, if he didn't understand something, if he didn't do something well, he would, like, literally lock himself in his studio and not talk to anyone and just practice it until he figured out what muscles he needed to use to be the best that he could be. Like, he did that with everything. He was a perfectionist. There really was never no, like, I can't do this. There was never, like, I'm giving up hope. It was always positivity. Yes, I can. I'm doing it. And it was a really easy read because English isn't his first language, so it was pretty basic. Like I said, really no negativity, just positivity until he got where he wanted to be, which was on top, and he was a really well-known ballet dancer. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Thanks for a great quarter. Sorry I had to do this over video chat. I had finals from 1 to 4 and then 4 to 7 today, and by the time I got to your office, it was packed already. But yeah, thank you so much, and it was really fun quarter. Bye.